We have Allison Huynh, the founder of Alo Ventures, and Skye Perryman, the president and CEO of Democracy Forward. Welcome both. We appreciate you making the time. Skye, let's start with you, because I know Democracy Forward wrote something called the People's Guide to Project 2025, and it breaks down this more than 900-page Project 2025 mandate for leadership. So in your opinion, what does every American need to know about what's in Project 2025?
Project 2025 is a threat to America. It is a threat to our freedoms, and it would fundamentally seek to remake the way life is in America. It would take away core protections for people's economic prosperity, threatening things like overtime pay. It would threaten reproductive health care and make even more restrictions on reproductive health care. It would seek to make prescription drugs more expensive. On every single issue, it would seek to dismantle the Department of Education. It is an extreme policy that we know the vast majority of Americans are rebuking. And the People's Guide, which your viewers can access at democracyforward.org, really breaks this down issue by issue. So if there's an issue that Americans particularly care about, that someone particularly cares about, they can read about what's in this proposal.
Okay, I appreciate that. Allison, I want to bring you in here because the question is, what does this have anything to do with the Trump presidency or potential presidency coming up? You know, after months of attempting to distance himself from Project 2025, we do see former President Trump confirming that he would adopt its policy to fire career civil servants. So these are people who have worked in both Democrat and Republican administrations for decades, and then he wants to replace them with people who are only loyal to him and his administration. Let's actually take a listen together.
The big key to running it is get the right people. You put the right person and the right group of people at the heads of these massive agencies, you're going to have tremendous success. And I know now the people, and I know them better than anybody would know them.
Allison, your response to this, do you think it's a smart campaign strategy for the former president to be publicly aligning himself with any part of Project 2025?
Well, you have to understand Project 2025, like all other political stuff out there. There's stuff that is radical on the right and on the left, and it's out there for us to have an open discussion. I myself do believe we need to reformat the Department of Education into the Department of Innovation. There are stuff that we can do with the Department of Energy. If you look at what Harris and Biden did with the electric car forum, they basically banned Elon Musk from it, and that's not fair. Here is someone that actually broke open the whole entire sustainable electric car industry and making the US and the world a better place for the environment. And then they banned him for it. And so I agree with Donald Trump that we need to have some type of reform at that national level. There is corruption, there's swamp at the federal level, at the department level, where they are banning the people that are innovating, that are creating the next Google, the next Tesla, the next SpaceX. We're going into the golden age of AI, and these career bureaucrats are suffocating and killing innovation and killing jobs at the end of the day. So
okay. I do want to turn it back
Trump on this.
Okay, I appreciate that perspective. Skye, I want to turn it back over to you. You know, if we focus back on the issue at hand, what would be the impact of firing career civil servants with decades of experience and expertise and then replacing them with people whose main qualification perhaps is pledging allegiance to the Trump administration?
Well, you know, this is a country that rejected that system in the 1800s because it led to large amounts of corruption. And what this would mean is that you would have a federal government that does not seek to serve the people, that does not seek to have an oath to the Constitution, which, by the way, is what our 2.2 million civil servants swear an oath to. They swear an oath to the Constitution, but instead a government that is made to serve one person. And that's not how the American system is. That's not how we operate, and it would be devastating to the American people. Civil servants do everything across a range of issues. They work and live in all 50 states, and they serve and do the work of the American people. We do need experts looking at regulating our medications and our drugs and understanding how our environment operates. We don't need just loyalists that are loyal to no one but an individual person and not the American people.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.